Hey there, I'm Chris, and you're listening to the Debut 10, courtesy of the Debut Charts, the perfect alternative to Billboard's Hot 100 and Mark One's Billboard Breakdown. Starting on Tuesday, every week we'll be going through the top 10 biggest songs around the world, courtesy of yours truly, and it will let us get into the top 10. Actually, here's a twist. All these songs here all amount to 10. There are 10 songs in total, which is what I'm trying to say. So instead, let's get to our top 2 debuts. Corazon De Piedra by Xavi, which is owned by Universal, and I Like For You Kiss Me by Artemas, who owns the song. And now let's get to our losers and dropouts. Starting off with dropouts, we have Cold by Dylan Gossett, which lasted on the charts for 8 weeks, and was once the champion last week before dropping out. It's owned by Universal, which also owns the distribution rights to Murder on the Dance Floor by Sophie Alex Bixter, which lasted on the charts for 4 weeks, which started off with a debut run for 1 week, and then it fell off, and then it came back for 3 weeks, and now it's gone once again. And finally, our last 2 entrants, starting off with Rewrite by Brian Martin. It's owned by Average Joe's, which is owned by Cold for the realest redneck from the South. And finally, we have Mr. Potscraper by Boss Mandilo, which is owned by Sony. Both of these songs lasted for 1 week. And now let's down over to our losers. Home by Good Neighbors goes down 2 spots, along with One Call by Richa Amari. Yeah. And Home by Good Neighbors is owned by the indie label Some Action. And One Call by Rich Amari is owned by Warner. And now we move on to Gata Only by Floyd Minor and Chris MJ. And it goes down 5 spots. And it's owned by United Masters LLC. And now we move on to Praise Beyond the Moonlight by YG Mali, who also owns the song. And as it goes down 1 spot, Again With Me by Boss Mandilo goes down 2 spots. It's also owned by Sony. Basically, Sony owns Boss Mandilo now. And now we move on to a new segment that Mark-On has never done before, Equalizers, in which a song stays in the same spot as it did last week. And this week's recipient is Austin by Dasha, which is owned by Warner, which also owns the starting song for our next segment, the gains and reentries. Sadly, there are no gains, only reentries. And Warner owns the first song to go up there. Warner owns Austin by Dasha, and Scared to Start by Michael Markagi. Yes, folks. After a sad and abysmal debut run, which didn't amount to much as it went on for 1 week, it returns once again in its 2nd week. Yes, folks. It was 1 spot shy of its top 3 peak, but it has returned, along with 20 Feet by Chase Beckham, which was the champion until it fell off and had its spot claimed by Cole by Dylan Gossett, and then it came back once again as Cole dropped out to claim its spot as champion. 20 Feet by Chase Beckham is now a champion at 9 weeks and is owned by Universal, which also owns our number 2 spot. Number two. I never forgot the 2012 video, and I will show you. Ultranic Productions and a wonky ankle. Yeah. Any case, though, let's get to our debut reviews. That's what I'm trying to say. Thinking about the 2012 video was not good for my health. So, anyways, let's on over to number 2. Or should I say number 2? Corazon De Piedra by Xavi. When it comes to these Cordos Turbato songs, I'm not really the biggest fan of them. Yeah, they all suck. Thank you, Peso Puma, for helping me reaffirm that fact. But with Xavi is actually not that bad. They're pretty amazing. Or should I say, he's amazing. Sorry about that. Anyway, Xavi is amazing. He is a pretty good artist overall. In the Cordo Turbato genre. And I reviewed his EP last year thinking it was an album, but it wasn't. Anyways, that EP was a 10 out of 10. And it was pretty amazing. Like a 10 out of 10. So, yeah, when it comes to his song Corazon De Piedra, though, it's also amazing too, but not as much as the EP. I give it an 8.5, which means that it's a song worth listening to, and a hell of a song. It's a great song, basically what I'm trying to say here. And while I wasn't able to review the other two Xavi songs, they were probably going to be amazing guests if I had ever got around to reviewing them. So, in any case, though, let's move on from all that, and on to our number one spot. Number one! Number one. We are number one. We are number one. We are number one. Or say, Artemas is number one. Because at number one spot, he has a song. So let's get to it. Number one. I Like The Way You Kiss Me by Artemas. Yes, folks, Artemas is finally here. And one of the few things that you need to know about Artemas is that Artemas is not a girl. Artemas is a boy. Yes, folks, Artemas is a boy. I confused his voice with that of a girl, so I guess because of a girl in thumbnails, I just assumed that he was a girl. So, sorry about that. Anyways, when it comes to a song, I Like The Way You Kiss Me. I don't like the way I burp there. Anyways, when it comes to the song I Like The Way You Kiss Me, I like it. I enjoy it. It's a 7 out of 10. I give it a 69 out of 100. Nice. It's got that 80s groove to it. Even though we all hate the 80s now, the song is still pretty dang awesome and bad. So, it's rather enjoyable, so I should say. But yeah, when it comes to Artemas, if you're a fan of his song, If You Think I'm Pretty, you might want to check this one out too. So, there you go. And that's going to conclude this week. There is no worst week, which is pretty nice. Nice. I should stop saying that now. Anyways, best of the week goes to Xavi with his song Corazon De Piedra. It was just pretty dang awesome, I should say the least. No worst of the week either. And next week, we're going to be moving over to Tuesdays, which is pretty dang awesome of me. So, hooray! And with that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. God, this one was so exhausting.